Hello my friends, Hank here, and welcome back to the Sprues and Brews Scale Modeling Bunker. Now, over the years on this channel, we've tackled a lot of different German World War II camouflage prints. We've done platanenmuster, we've done oak leaf camo, we've done P-dot camo, but today we're going to bring it all the way back to 1937 and tackle the first proper foliage printed camouflage, platanenmuster, or plain tree camouflage. So whether you're a brand new scale modeler or an experienced builder looking to take a crack at one of the most iconic camo schemes of the Second World War, this one is for you. Plain tree camouflage, made easy. Let's get into it. Now, you guys know how we do it around here. A quick little bit of history before we break the paints out. As we learned in our Splittertarn episode, Splittertarnmuster was the first camo pattern adopted by the German military way back in 1931, and this will be the only camouflage print that's used in any real numbers by the regular German army and the Luftwaffe throughout the war. Pretty quickly though, even before hostilities break out in Europe, work had begun on new and improved alternatives to the splinter camo. As the story goes, in the mid-1930s, a major in the fledgling SS named Wilhelm Brandt tapped a Munich art professor by the name of Johann Georg Otto Schick to start developing new camouflage patterns that could be used to outfit the growing paramilitary organization. So Schick goes out and spends years studying the foliage and the environs of Western Europe, and he pays a lot of attention to the shapes of nature and how they interact with light in different seasons. He eventually comes back in 1937 with a reversible two-season pattern to be field tested by the Deutschland Regiment. They approve the design, and the rest is history. In 1938, the first platanenmuster pattern uniform pieces are patented, say that 5 times fast, and the variants of the design will go on to be used throughout the course of the war, including derivatives like the blurred edge pattern, like the oak leaf pattern, like the P-dot pattern, and so on and so on. But this all really starts with the plain tree pattern. Now, interestingly, these names that we use, like plain tree and oak leaf, are retroactive designations that we've plopped on these camouflages down the road. We don't have any actual record of the Germans actually using these pattern names at the time, but plain tree, interestingly, refers to the bark of the plane tree. Makes sense, as is commonly known in Europe, or as we know it here in the States, the sycamore. Sycamores are stunning. They're absolutely beautiful trees. And if you look at them, you can see exactly what this camo is going for. The lower trunk has these big scaly bark plates, but as you start to get higher up in the canopy, the limb bark kind of peels and reveals this smoother, colorful, faceted skin, and it looks just like the plain tree camo. It's just so cool to see how this all works out. Now, with all of that said, let's actually paint this figure, shall we? Alright, now since we're just focusing on our camo print today, I've gone ahead and painted up the rest of this officer figure here. He's wearing the traditional wool field gray uniform under his camo smock. If you'd like to check out my full video on painting up field gray uniforms though, you can do so right here. We're going to start our camouflage work with a base coat of orange-brown. We're tackling the autumn side of the plain tree camo today, so we'll start with this nice rich orange base. Let's get a bit of this thinned down with some tap water and start to block in the whole camo smock, being careful not to overpaint onto the rest of the uniform. In the end, you'll likely need a couple thin layers of this orange-brown to adequately cover our initial black primer coat. With our smock all nicely oranged up, let's move on to our second camo color, German Camo Medium Brown. Now, at this phase, I do want to say, like pretty much all German World War II camouflage, there was a ton of tonal variation between different batches of this camo pattern. Some uniforms you'll see will be super saturated, some will be really light and faded, some oranges are more orangey, some browns darker than others. These manufacturers were dealing with a whole slew of materials, both of the fabric and of the dyes they had access to, so don't go crazy trying to find the exact right color matches. My recommendation: get a good reference photo in a book or online and use that as your inspiration. With our brown here, though, let's start to blot in some little amorphous blobs across our smock. The biggest patches we're going to see on our autumn plain tree camo, other than our orange-brown base, are this deep chocolatey brown. So try and fill in a decent amount of the smock surface area with these irregular shapes. The big thing to keep in mind here: there aren't any straight lines in nature. Keep your lines wiggly. That's really the big thing that separates these patterns from the Splittertarn camo. Splittertarn is geometric, plain tree, oak leaf, etc. are organic. I'll leave some extended footage here of me working just so you can get an idea of how we'll move around our full figure. Okay, with our medium brown on there, let's move on to color number 3, German Camo Beige. This beige will act as our lightest tone and will make up the third largest blotches of color on our smock. As you move around the figure, these blobs will flow over both our orange base and our previous brown blotches, but try to make these a little less substantial in size than their brown counterparts. And moving on to our fourth and final camo color, let's crack out some beige brown. Autumn Plane Tree features a sort of mid-tone brown that sits in between our rich orange base and our deepest dark browns. That's what we're creating here. These brown beige flecks will make up our smallest total percentage of color on the smock, so just move around the uniform and add some smaller little blotches sitting on and overlapping our previous colors. With all 4 camo colors applied, we're now going to revisit some of our previous tones. Starting with our orange base, let's start to dot in some smaller little spots of orange, mostly targeted on our larger medium brown shapes that we drew back in step 2. Next, we'll repeat the same process with our German Camo Medium Brown that we used as our second color, focusing those dots on our untouched areas of orange and some of the open space on our German Camo Beige. And finally, we'll repeat that step one more time with our German Camo Beige, adding some final dots to any remaining large patches of orange or Camo Medium Brown. With our painting work complete, let's go ahead and spray the full figure with a coat of gloss varnish to seal in our work and prepare us for a light bit of weathering. To bring everything together here, let's apply a simple pin wash over our figure with a pairing of enamel dark wash and some odorless enamel thinner to allow the product to settle into the recesses and details of our sculpt. As always, any excess we don't like of this wash product can be removed with a bit of odorless thinner, quite user-friendly. Once our wash layer has dried completely, we can spray our full figure with a coat of matte varnish to knock down the shininess and protect our completed figure. And with that, we've got ourselves a simple and effective reproduction of German World War II Plane Tree Camo down here in 1/35th scale. I hope you guys liked the video. If you'd like to see me tackle the reverse spring-summer side of the Plane Tree smock, please do let me know. And in the meantime, if you'd like to carry on and check out some more camo painting tutorials, you can do so right here. Thanks for watching, my friends, and until next time, be well, happy building, cheers.